The Debt We Never Signed For, Fireside Wisdom with Gogo. Introduction. The Shade of the Indaba. The sun in Kwanu doesn't just set, it surrenders, painting the sky in bruises of purple and gold before sinking behind the rolling hills of the Eastern Cape. In the center of the family homestead stands the ancient majestic tree in the center of Isivavane, its bark gnarled like the hands of the ancestors it has shaded for a century. Gogo sits on her low wooden stool, her blanket draped over her shoulders despite the lingering warmth of the day. Her 4 grandchildren, Sia, Thandalwethu, Naledi, and Nomalanga, form a semicircle around her. They are the city dwellers, the university students, the corporate climbers, and the dreamers, brought back to the soil for the December holidays. But Gogo sees more than their modern clothes and expensive phones, she sees the invisible heavy sacks they are all carrying. Chapter 1. The Ledger of the Unseen. Theme: Identifying the Inheritance. The first night was cool, the air smelling of wood smoke and dried grass. "My children," Gogo began, her voice a low hum that seemed to vibrate from the earth itself. "Do you know that some people spend their whole lives paying for a house they didn't build, using currency they didn't earn?" Sia, the eldest, leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "You mean like an inheritance, Gogo? Like the cattle or the land?" Gogo chuckled, a dry, rhythmic sound. "No, Sia. The things you can touch are the easy part. I am talking about the ghost debts. Look at your sister." She gestured toward Thandalwethu. "Thandalwethu, why do you apologize to the chair when you bump into it? Why do you say sorry before you ask a question in a room full of people?" Thandalwethu looked down at her hands, her voice barely a whisper. I don't know, Gogo. I just feel like I'm taking up too much space. Like I'm an inconvenience." "That," Gogo said, pointing a slender finger, "is the debt of your great-grandmother, Mamthunzi. She lived in a time where her silence was her only shield. She had to be small so the world wouldn't see her and decide to break her. She signed a contract of smallness just to keep her children fed. But Mamthunzi is gone, and the world has changed, yet here you are, still paying her protection money with your own confidence." Gogo's parable, the leashed dog. Imagine a dog tied to a post with a very short rope. 4 years, it tries to run, but the rope jerks it back. Eventually, the dog stops trying. One day, the owner cuts the rope. The dog is free, but it stays within that small circle, staring at the grass it cannot reach. The rope is gone, but the debt of the leash remains in the dog's mind. Chapter 2. Bloodline Architects. Theme: Designing a New Legacy. By the second night, the siblings were more restless, the weight of Gogo's words settling into their bones. "If these debts aren't ours, Gogo, why do we have to pay them?" Nomalanga asked, her voice tinged with the frustration of a young woman who prided herself on her independence. "It feels unfair. I didn't ask for my mother's fears." "Life is not a court of law, Nomalanga. It is a garden," Gogo replied, tending to a small fire between them. "If the person who tended this soil before you planted thorns, you will get pricked whether you bought the seeds or not. The soil doesn't care who bought the seed, it only knows what was sown." Naledi, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, looked up. "Gogo, sometimes I feel my mother's grief in my own chest. Even when things are going well, I feel a sudden shadow." "Is that a thorn?" "Yes, my child. Your mother's grief was a shield. She lived through a time of great loss, and she learned that if she stayed sad, the world couldn't surprise her with more pain. It was a vigilance debt. But you are the bloodline architects. You have the tools to pull the weeds. You don't need a shield made of sorrow in a time of peace." Chapter 3. The 100-Year Echo. Theme: The Spiritual Science of Healing. On the third evening, a thunderstorm brewed in the distance, lightning flickering like distant memories. "Gogo," Sia said, his voice heavy. "I've been thinking about what you said about DNA having a memory. Sometimes I get so angry at work, or in traffic, an anger that feels too big for the moment. Is my anger actually mine, or is it an echo?" Gogo nodded slowly. "It is a 100-year echo, Sia. Your grandfather's land was taken by men who didn't know his name. His dignity was stripped like bark from a tree. That fire had nowhere to go, he couldn't fight the system, so he swallowed the coal. It sat in his blood, then it sat in your father's blood. Now, it burns in yours. It is a karmic account that is currently in the red because no one ever got to say enough. Thandalwethu hugged her knees. So we are just puppets of the past. Controlled by dead men's ghosts. Only if you stay asleep, Gogo whispered. The moment you say, this anger belongs to my grandfather, you stop being the fire and start being the one who holds the water. You give him justice by refusing to let his pain burn your life down. Chapter 4, The Final Echo. Theme, Why this generation is different. Why us, Gogo? Naledi asked on the fourth night. My parents, they just work. They buy things. They don't talk like this. Why are we the ones who have to feel everything? Because your generation is the final echo, Gogo said, her eyes reflecting the dying embers. You have been born with the luxury of the why. Your ancestors were in survival mode. If a lion is chasing you, you don't stop to wonder why you have a fear of cats. You just run. They were too busy making sure you existed to worry about why they were sad. Nomalanga wiped a tear. It feels like a betrayal to be happy when they suffered so much. Like I'm leaving them behind. Listen to me, Gogo said sternly. Breaking the chain is not betrayal, it is the ultimate form of gratitude. It means their suffering finally bought someone's freedom. If I spend my life in a dark room so you can have a lamp, would I want you to sit in the dark with me to show your loyalty? No. I want you to read by the light I paid for. Chapter 5, Trading Heartbreak for Peace. Theme, The New Contract. On the final night, the moon was a silver sliver. Gogo led them to a spot near the indaba tree where the earth was soft. She handed each of them a dry, brown leaf and a small piece of charcoal. Tonight, we settle the accounts, she commanded. Write the name of the debt you are tired of paying on the leaf. They wrote in silence. The scratching of charcoal on leaf was the only sound. Now, Gogo said, we return them to the earth. Not with hatred, but with a thank you. They served their purpose once. They kept us alive. But we are done with them now. One by one, they dropped their leaves into the pit. Sia, I sign for the right to be soft. I release the anger that was never mine. I am a builder, not a fighter. Thandalwethu, I sign for the right to be seen. I release the need to hide. I am here, and I am enough. Naledi, I sign for the right to be still. I release the anxiety of the hunted. My peace is not a sin. Nomalanga, I sign for the right to be whole. I release the shame of my ancestors' scars. I am the flower they dreamed of. Gogo covered the leaves with soil, patting it down firmly. The heirlooms of heartbreak are buried. From now on, your children will inherit only the shade of the trees you plant, not the heat of the fires you fought. The debt is settled. Go and sleep as free people. Glossary of Healing, Settling Your Own Debt. Ghost debt, an emotional or behavioral pattern inherited from ancestors, e.g., unexplained anxiety, fear of success, or habitual people-pleasing. The final echo, the generation that possesses the awareness and safety required to address and heal generational trauma. Bloodline architect, one who consciously chooses to build new family traditions and emotional habits, replacing toxic cycles with healthy ones. Smallness contract, a survival mechanism where ancestors learned to stay quiet or invisible to avoid harm, often passed down as low self-esteem or social anxiety. Karmic account in the red, when a family line has accumulated unresolved trauma, grief, or anger that creates a deficit of peace in the current generation. 5. Why? The luxury of self-reflection, moving from how do I survive, to why do I feel this way. Inherited vigilance, a state of high anxiety passed down from ancestors who lived in genuine danger, manifesting as modern-day stress or waiting for the other shoe to drop. The loyalty trap, the feeling of guilt when one succeeds or finds happiness beyond what their ancestors were able to achieve.